Hey everybody, this is Dan Miller from Bluegrass Unlimited magazine and coming to you with the third installment of learning how to play music by ear for all stringed instruments. This video lesson series is based on a book I did by the same title, Learning Music by Ear for All Stringed Instruments. You can find that book at www.flatpick.com. I got more stuff in the book that's in this video, for instance, the structure of a tune and how to break it apart in phrases and how those phrases interact with each other and how certain phrases might be repeats of other phrases or almost repeats of other phrases. We talk about a lot of that song structure and how melodies are built and information that gives you something as a guideline when you're finding songs by ear. If you know these things, if you know the key, which we went over in the first video, if you know the chords, which we also went over in the first video, and you know the scale of the key, then all that information plus something about relative pitches, which I go over in the book, and also something about song structure and melody, rules of melody that sort of are typical, especially in simpler songs. All these things are going to give you hints and roadmaps and guides to when you start learning to find notes by ear. We've been working with this song, When the Saints Go Marching In, and we found the chord, we found the key first, we found the chords, and we found the melody all the way up to the first chord change. So we found, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in. All that was a D chord up until that note in, and we changed to an A chord. Now, we talked about tapping this out so you know exactly where those melody notes lie in the grid of your measures and your chord progression. And that's going to be an important part when you start learning how to solo on these songs. I'm going to recommend you learn this melody and you learn where those melody notes lie and you practice just the melody enough so you have a very intuitive feel of what I'm going to call the anchor notes of the melody. And we'll talk about how to take some notes out of the melody that you might hum or sing and make it even more of a sparse melody and just focus on those really significant anchor notes that if you play those notes it'll sound like the song, and then whatever you weave around that to create your solo it'll still sound like the song. And that's where we're headed towards by learning the melody the way we're learning it this time. Okay, so we've gotten up to that point that we're in, so we'll tap this out. Oh, when the saints 2, 3, 4, 1 go marching in, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, when the saints go marching in, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, Lord, I want. So we got a long space between that chord change word in and the next chord change or the next series of notes that leads up to the chord change back to D. On that word want, because we've already figured that out. We changed to A the word in, we changed to want, we changed to D on the word want. Between that note in and want, there's just two notes that we have to figure out. We're on this note in, Lord, I want. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like we're hearing the word in, and it goes up, in, Lord, I want, and it walks down. So we're going to check that out. We're on this E note with the word in, goes up, and again, we're just going to walk the scale. In, Lord, that sounds like it fits, an F sharp note. Now it sounds like it goes back down, and look, I'm on F sharp, and between F sharp and D is just that one note E. And I know on that word want, I'm going to change to a D chord. So just looking at that, laying that out in the fingerboard, thinking about it in my head, I'm walking down two notes from F sharp, and I'm going to land on a chord tone. So that's probably D. So let's see if that fits. In, Lord, I want. And there it is. We have all the way to that next chord change, D chord on the word want. Okay, so let's tap it out from there. Lord, I want to be in that number. Okay, so we have some quarter notes there and we have some half notes there. Lord, I I want. Okay, so Lord, I, quarter notes going into the word want. And then we have some half notes, and then we have a few quarter notes. We have Lord, I want to be in that number. Okay, so that's our timing of the thing. So let's see if we can figure out these notes. I'm on this word, open D. I've gone in, Lord, I want. Now let's sing the next note. Want to. That sounds like the same note to me. So another D note. Lord, I want to be. Sounds like it goes up. So we're on the D. We're going to go, Lord, I want to. Sounds right. Sounds like it's a repeated D note. Lord, I want to be. No, that's not it. Lord, I want to be. All right. So now we have in, Lord, I want to be. That's where we are right now. Want to be in that number. Now to me it sounds like we have a few repeated notes there. We're on F sharp. It sounds like we're going to go up. Lord, I want to be in that number. And on that of number, we know we're going to change to our G chord. So let us go from there. Lord, I want to be. Sound like we go up. Let's just go up to the G. Be in. Nope. I have to go up one more. Lord, I want to be in that Okay, so those are repeated A notes. So we're going to go from F sharp to A and repeat the A 3 times. And then on that burr of number, we're going to change chords to a G chord, remember? And I'm on an A note. My closest G chord note is an open G, so let me try that. Of course, B is just as close, but it sounds like we're going down. So let me try the next G chord note moving down from that A note, which is G. Lord, I want to be in that number. Okay, there we are. On that G chord change, we have that note G. So here we are. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, Lord, I want to be in that number. So now we're on that G chord change on the word, last part of the word number. Number, when the saints go marching in. Okay, so it looks like, again, we have some quarter notes and some half notes. Want to be in that number, when the saints, so those are quarter notes. So let's see where we go from that open G note on the second half of the word number. Number, when the saints, so it sounds like we're going to go down and then back up. Number, let's go down. When, that sounds like it fits, walk back up. The, sounds like it fits, walk back up one more. Saints, when the saints go marching in. So it sounds like we have some down and up there. I'll go through this fast since we've done a lot of this, and hopefully you've done your homework and you've got it on your own. I just wanted to go through this. Here we go. Number, when the saints go, not a G, when the saints go, so it's not a G going down, it's F sharp. Number, E, I'll go down to the D. Number when the saints go march. Then it sounds like it goes back up. Marching in, goes up and then back down. And our last note in, we know it's our D chord, D note ending the song. So when the saints go marching. Nope, not all the way up to F sharp again. Let's try E. Number when the saints go march. It sounds like marching in. Goes up and goes back down. Let's just go up one note. Number when the saints go marching in. And that's it. So from that G, and we really didn't, it has a couple chord changes in there, quick D to A to D, but we really didn't need that. We just followed our highs and lows of our scale. So after that word number, G number, and then F sharp, when the saints, F sharp, go, D march, E ing, back to D ing. And so we have this whole song. That's when the saints go marching in the key of D. Again, check out the book, Learning Music by Ear for All Stringed Instruments. And I'll have some tab with this video that'll have that melody tabbed out for fiddle, guitar, mandolin, banjo, and resonator guitar. I'll put that along with this video so that you can see it on paper, but hopefully you've figured it out by ear first. That's what I recommend of all my students. Try to figure it out by ear first and then go to the tab to see if you got it right. And that way you'll be training your ear and you won't be relying on written music. Same thing when you're tuning your instrument. Try to tune it without the tuner first, then go to the tuner and see if you got it right. And then you're training your ear. You're not just relying on that external device. So what you would do from here, once you've got that melody memorized, is just go over it again and again and again. When I interviewed Richard Bennett for Flat Picking Guitar Magazine, he said he makes his students play the melody until they get what he called melody burnout. And that means they can play that melody and have a conversation at the same time. They could do it in their sleep. You want to have it that solid, because when you start creating solos and start improvising, you're going to want to have that very intuitive feel for where those melody notes lie while you're doing other things around that melody to make it more interesting with your own creative embellishments. So I recommend that if you get bored playing it like that over and over and over again, try it in a different octave on your instrument. Try it in a different key on your instrument. The more you do that and the more you lock that melody solidly in, you'll find that if you will spend the time and have the patience to do that with just the melody of the song, it will serve you well. It'll be the best song that you know. It'll be the song that you could create the most solos on. It'll be the song you can improvise best on if you'll just spend the time doing that. And another thing I tell my students, when they learn just the melody, you know, a lot of people, they want to learn whatever song it is, Salt Creek or whatever song they're learning, and they want to get Doc Watson's versions, or they want to get, you know, whoever their hero on their instrument's version is. And that's just a little bit too much there, because they've created their own way to interpret that melody and weave notes around the melody. You want to start with just the melody, and one of the reasons is to make it your own. It'd be easier to make your own. Another reason is speed. When my students come to me and say, oh, I want to learn how to play faster, the first and easiest way to learn how to play faster is to play less notes. You know, if you're playing half the notes, you can play twice the speed. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't work on getting complicated solos up to speed, but the first thing you can do, when I go to a jam session and a banjo player or a fiddle player kicks something off really fast, the first thing I do is get rid of some notes. And if I have to, I'll go all the way down to just the bare melody and play. If that song is whipping by fast enough, just playing the bare melody and getting those notes in cleanly is going to sound way better than trying to play something more complicated and maybe having the notes a little flubby or staccato or kind of weak. So there's lots of advantages to just learning the bare melody. So in the videos that follow this, I will show you how I would take this melody and start to embellish it. And I start with very simple things. I start with maybe some strums or double stops or slides, hammers, pull-offs, real simple stuff, and then gradually get more complicated, and we'll talk about how to do that on your guitar, banjo, dobro, and mandolin. I'll give you some hints. I wrote a book called Developing Creative Solos for guitar players, called The Guitar Player's Guide to Developing Creative Solos, and myself and Tim May are now working on a book, the same subject for mandolin. And there's 3 levels of soloing that I outlined in the book. The first I call creating your solo using techniques. And the techniques could be cross-picking, double stops, strums, what we call neighboring notes, toggle notes. Tim May did a video earlier that's on Bluegrass Unlimited website where he talks about some of these things. The second approach I call the theory approach, when you're taking concepts of chords, chord tones, scale notes, folded scales, straight scales, all these things, and learning how to embellish your solo from that perspective. And then the third perspective I call intuitive soloing. Now, if you take a lot of these folks in bluegrass have been playing bluegrass all their lives since they were little kids, and they say, oh, I don't know anything about music theory. It's true, because they've learned to play intuitively just by doing it a lot. And so I have some exercises in that book which will give people that don't know how so much play intuitively some exercises to practice that can get them there. So again, it's the technical approach using technique-oriented things, the theory approach using theoretical ideas, and then an intuitive approach, which is just using intuition and going for it. And so we'll talk a little bit about all those things in upcoming videos. But first, learn the melody, learn it where we've played it here in this octave, learn it in a different octave on your instrument, learn it in a different key, and we'll talk about some of those things in future videos. Thanks for watching.